Hello and welcome to the first ever Hidden Door live show. Hidden Door is an alternative arts organisation. We're dedicated to working with emerging artists, creating opportunities for them to create new work and show it in really interesting ways. We normally do this through our annual Hidden Door Festival, which we run in Edinburgh every year. But of course, this festival now is being a little bit postponed, so we've decided to run these Hidden Door live shows. The Hidden Door Festival takes disused spaces and tries to transform them creatively, filling them with all sorts of really exciting projects. But seeing as now all art spaces are effectively disused, we thought we would turn our attention to this space online and fill it with as much exciting music, art, theatre, dance, film and spoken word as we possibly could. We'll be bringing you performances, live interviews, footage, and chats with people who are making really exciting work and the people who are keeping Scotland vibrant. My name's David Martin. I'm the creative director of Hidden Door, and I'll be introducing you to all these people. But of course, it's not just me doing the show. Behind the scenes, in true Hidden Door style, we've got a fantastic team who are kind of making all this happen, making it look beautiful, slick, and ultra awesome. But of course, if anything goes wrong, it's definitely their fault and not mine. Just thought I would say that. But you know, what I want to do really is we want to kind of make this show, I suppose, an experiment. We're going to run a series of pilot shows. We're going to be doing these shows once a week, alternating between Facebook and Instagram, trying to keep things spicy, trying things out. And so your kind of feedback and your comments are really important. So if you've got anything that you're really enjoying about the show, do bung in a comment, let us know what's working, and we can develop these shows and try and make them work for you as best as possible. We want to bring you the best of the kind of what the up and coming creative people in Scotland are doing. And we want to do our part to show that the creative community is very much alive and kicking. However, it's important to acknowledge during these times, so much of what makes that creative community function has been shut down. We are in extremely challenging times. So we want to support the artists and performers as much as possible. And these online shows are really all about that. And just you being here, just you watching, is a really important part of that as well. So first of all, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to all of you for turning up, tuning in and watching this tonight. It makes a huge difference to us. So you probably want to know what we've got in store tonight. We've got some fantastic music coming from Mount Doubt. We've got spoken word from Iona Lee, and we'll be chatting to a couple of inspirational artists, Jill Boualaxai and Kristina Chan. But before all of that, I want to kick things off by bringing on our first guest. He heralds from Glasgow. He likes to make music that makes adults want to dance like children, and he goes by the rather fantastic name of Tupper Werewolf. Hello, Tupper Werewolf.
Hello. How are you doing?
How are you doing over there?
Oh, not so bad, yeah. How's yourself?
I think I'm doing okay. I see you've got a rather fancy backdrop there. I'm kind of trying to rival you here with my own little setup.
Much, yeah.
So you're going to play for us a tune. Can you tell us what it is you're going to play, and then you can just kick in and let rip?
Yeah, this tune is called, rather inventively, Hello, I'm Tupper Werewolf. Hi, everyone.
Hello everyone, how are you doing? It's Tupper Werewolf here. I'm just courtesy look after each other in these uncertain times. It'll be brilliant when we're back in the same places together. It'll be so excellent to see all these. It'll be brilliant. We just need to remember that hope is important. It's lovely when we're just here. We need to look out for each other, be kind, be safe, be wonderful together.
Thank you so much, Tupper Werewolf. That was amazing. In fact, I think we should probably just make that the theme tune of the whole Hidden Door live show. That was really great. Thank you so much. We'll be hearing a bit more from Mr. Werewolf later on. But during the show, I'm going to be bringing on some different guests, and I want to explore really how the lockdown is affecting people and affecting the creative community. The theme of the show is Survival Kit. And I'll be talking to my guests, finding out how they're doing, how they're responding, maybe even getting some tips on how they're surviving and how to survive as an artist in these tricky times. So without further ado, I'd like to bring on my next guest. He is a songwriter from Edinburgh. He's admired for his emotive and atmospheric qualities of his music. Signed to Last Night from Glasgow Records. Please welcome Mount Doubt.
Hello. How are you?
Hello, Mount Doubt. I am really well. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Where are you joining us from?
I'm in Edinburgh, just kind of West Edinburgh, so I'm not far away.
You're quite far away from me. I'm on the east side, so I'll have to shout really loud. Well, how have you been keeping during the lockdown? Have you been spending it in splendid isolation?
Yes, I'm back at my mum's house at the moment, and I've been here for about 9 weeks at this point, I think. So I've not been beyond the back garden, so I have been quite isolated so far. But yeah, it's been all things considered for me, it's been all right.
That's great. You normally play with a band, right? So have you been in touch with them? Are they around as well?
Yeah, they're all doing all right. They're all based in Edinburgh as well. We've convened for a bit of a quiz now and then, as everyone seems to be doing. But yeah, everyone's kind of strangely busy with their own stuff. Everyone seems well.
Have you tried any kind of remote music making together at the same time? How's that worked out?
We've done a bit of recording, just kind of everyone doing their own little bit at home and then sort of smashing it together on a laptop. I'm not doing that because I can barely work a phone, but someone else is doing that. So we've done a little bit of that, done some filming as well. So it's not totally ground to a halt at this point, which is something.
Yeah, that's good. Do you feel like you're being creative during the lockdown? Do you feel like you've been productive at all?
Yeah, I mean, definitely in the first kind of 2 or 3 weeks, I really forced myself into a routine of kind of writing every single day. I have to say that has fallen by the wayside a little bit, especially since it's got really sunny. But I've been writing quite a lot, so the time has been not totally wasted.
That's great. So could you say anything more about what you've been writing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's just I started it as a bit of a project of motivation, really, just kind of trying to write a song every day, accepting that some of them might be rubbish and hoping that there would be a kind of like gems in amongst it. But yeah, just seeing whatever came, to be honest.
That sounds really exciting, and a song a day is quite amazing. So you'll have quite a lot to work through. Your band will probably hate you when you try and make them learn.
I think
all
they
the
probably
songs.
hate me already, but yeah. Yeah.
You're getting some good comments, by the way, about your shirt. I'm just letting you know that
Yeah.
are coming through on the comments. So that's
Thank you.
much appreciated that you've scrubbed up well.
Oh,
Do you
yes.
have any tips, about your creativity, how to kind of max your creativity in kind of challenging times like this?
I mean, I guess it's going to be totally different for everyone, obviously. For me, like I said, I did find it helpful actually forcing myself into that routine and just making myself treat it as more of a job and just kind of accept that it's not going to be naturally creative all the time. Like, you do have to force it sometimes. But then it's nice just to kind of do nothing sometimes, lie in the garden, do a bit of reading, do some keepy uppies, that kind of stuff. So.
Keepy uppies. What's your record?
Well, like when I was younger, it was quite high, but my modern day record, I'm battling to reach 50, but I'm still quite pleased with 50.
50 is pretty impressive. Talking of impressive, you're going to be playing piano for us. Is that what you normally play when you're doing your music with Mount Doubt?
I tend to play guitar. I only play guitar really when we're playing live, but I've always kind of favored playing the piano like at home and writing. So it kind of like I'm not particularly good at either, but I kind of prefer this.
So why did you not want to pick up the guitar tonight?
There's only one guitar in this house. It's missing a couple of strings. The headstock is super glued in place. So it's more kind of necessity situation, to be honest. But
I'd say that's a pretty badly planned lockdown if your guitar playing musician is away without a guitar. But well, let's see how you fare with the piano. What are you're gonna play a song for us now? What are you gonna play?
Yeah, I'm gonna play a track that we put out earlier this year called Headless. It was the first single we did with Last Night from Glasgow, who you mentioned.
Fantastic. All right, just crack on into it.
Cool. Thank you very much.
On a low run home, and I'm scared of the wind that it might pull my head right from my neck. And how would I see you? How would I see anything? Everybody's eyes drive to the ground. The vines we've grown and grown lash us down. I don't want to be headless. Roll asleep at night, elaborate myth. I dream of her, she is wedding dressed. I owe it to you to be headless. And it's a little bit shameful. I'm pulled over in an orange pool of light, and I sift, I scroll, I device the long shore drift of my life, and it's all so easy. It's so easy to be taken in by the Eden we believe. It's ours for the taking. It's so easy to be, so easy to be headless. Can you see through?
Thank you, Mount Doubt. That was amazing. He'll be back for another tune a little bit later on. But I'm very happy now to bring onto the show the one and only Iona Lee. Iona Lee is a writer, performer, and artist, originally from Edinburgh. Iona fell to the spoken word scene when she was 17 and won the title of Scottish Slam Champion in 2016, which apparently has nothing to do with wrestling. She's performed at the Edinburgh International Book Festival, Stanza, Glastonbury, and fronts the amazing band Acolyte. Her work's been published by Gutter Magazine, 404 Inc., The High Flight, Speculative Books, The Morning Star, The Skinny, The Scotsman, Berlin, Hatchet Publishing, and Tangerine Press. Illustration student from Glasgow, she has often been known to illustrate her own work. Hi, Iona.
Hi.
You're going to perform a poem for us straight off. So do you want to tell us what it is?
It is called Anamnesis, which is a beautiful word that means memories of a past life. He opened with a kiss, his tongue a little hors d'oeuvre before leaving for the gym. I nibbled it, suddenly overcome with ennui. Is this what it has come to? Exercising on purpose. Climbing hills just to climb back down again. Sometimes I feel like a babe station girl, but no one is calling. Someone please tell me what they want me to do. Sometimes I feel like a video game character, but my player has left the room to make a cheese sandwich. Sometimes I wander aimlessly through Debenhams. I want to feel so alive. I want to own a small fusion restaurant. I want to play the tambourine in a Brian Jonestown Massacre tribute band. I would much rather dance on a pirate ship, the black and pearl drop rain bouncing like a giant's broken necklace all across the deck, than answer the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because honestly, I chiefly see myself 5 years ago. Like if only we could play still, how we did when we were kids. Hold your hand up to your ear. The sea is calling. I will be the mummy, and you will be the daddy, and we can make a palace of this fallen tree. We just need 2 bits of imagination to rub together. Sometimes I think of all the flats that I have lived in. They constitute the shape of times gone by. We mistook the city for a moon, found ourselves enthusiastically blue tacking, making bohemian palaces of whatever squat we'd landed in, inviting over friends for food and mainly wine, chasing the summer sun to the outmost corners of the meadows, skirts lapping at the girls' grubby feet. Everything smelt new. Sometimes I think that I would do it all again, but shinier, like how the Renaissance redid the ancient world, or how the 90s did the 60s again, with ecstasy. The tragic thing is that I quite enjoy yoga, and I can't be fucked with techno anymore.
Thank you very much for that, Iona. So how are you doing? Where are you spending your lockdown?
So I'm in my flat with my partner in Govan Hill in the south of Glasgow.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
How are you finding your creativity during these lockdown times?
It's relatively good. I guess what this time has given us is a chance to sort of breathe in so we can breathe out, like feed your head. Sort of reading a lot, listening to albums a lot, watching a lot of good films, doing all the things that you always mean to do. So that amps up the creativity. So, yeah, I hear people a lot saying that they have a lot more time during lockdown. Do you feel like time kind of opens up during these kind of times? I guess for me, my life isn't wildly different because I've been self-employed and not had like a proper job for quite a long time, like several years. And so my days have been kind of hanging out at home doing bits and bobs for a long time anyway. The thing that's very different for me is live gigs obviously aren't happening in the same way, and that's what's changed.
Yeah, I'm just kind of shocked to hear you describe as being a poet as not being a proper job. But what do you find? So you mentioned the kind of live gigs there, but what do you feel that you're most looking forward to once this is all over?
The pub, friends, live music.
That's a really nice list. Right, let's have a second poem. What have you got for us?
Okay, this one is called Balancing. On a slow day in the pub, I asked Steve if that is when he felt the most like a chef. When he did the knife thing, where he took big strokes, sharpening his knives in a macho display of chefness. He said yes, but also when he chopped things very fast. I thought and said that I probably felt the most like a waiter when I balanced 2 plates on each arm. You can't really get away with a tea cloth over one shoulder anymore, but I suppose that bartenders could have twiddling the bar blade. I wonder if ball boys feel very much like ball boys when they run fast and pick up a tennis ball. I wonder if bankers look at themselves in the mirror and go, I am a banker, as they do up their ties. Something happens when you zip up that Sainsbury's fleece or clip on that name tag. Look at me, behind the counter. Look at me playing the role of helpful shop assistant. Tonight, Matthew, I will be sports centre lifeguard. My knees and my whistle, I shall be glorious. I shall sit atop a very high chair and try to look like I know exactly what I am doing.
So, thank you so much. The spoken word and poetry communities seem to have reacted really well to the conditions of the lockdown. Lots of regular nights like Sonic Youth being hosted online. Spoken word is a really kind of physical art. Is it really different, do you think, performing remotely away from a live audience?
I think that it's the art form that has translated best to this kind of video conferencing platform because it is inherently kind of talking. I mean, it's talking elegantly and with purpose, but it is talking. And so I think that's why it's worked so well. But it is certainly different. I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say that one of the reasons that I do it is like to be told that I'm clever and get a clap at the end of it. So I definitely miss that. And I miss the kind of obvious response. And there's nothing like a live performance space. You can't capture it in any other way. So yeah, I definitely miss that.
You're getting lots of claps on the online comments through
Thank you.
Facebook at the moment, so that's happening.
It helps me go, thank you.
The artists need it. I think online events are making, obviously, live literature and spoken word more accessible, both geographically and for people who may not be able to attend a spoken word event normally or may not quite get round to it. Do you think there are things that the creative community are going to learn from this, that can take from this, positive stuff?
I'm sure that we will take some of this with us into the future. I mean, it makes kind of perfect sense. Like, I can't nip to Berlin to watch a gig that I want to see, but I was watching a poetry gig being streamed from Berlin the other day. And why would you stop doing that? So, yeah, I imagine that we'll take... I was sort of thinking about this time as like, the world is never going to be what it was before again. And there are going to be some things about that that are bad, and there'll be some things about that that are good. And I think maybe using the internet to spread art is kind of a good outcome.
The poets are basically going to take over, aren't they?
Oh God, I hope not.
All right.
So,
well, you've got one more piece for us. So do you want to tell us a little bit about it, and then?
Yeah. So I wrote this last night. Which is why I decided to do it now, because it's good to do new stuff. I was commissioned to write a poem about lockdown, and I started writing about it, but actually it's not a very interesting subject matter because it's sort of just watching reality TV and sitting on the floor. So I ended up writing what I think is an ode to the lost festivals of 2020.
Thank you.
Yeah. Viva Le Evening. Long live the smouldering perfume of your dressing up box. Long live the rose hips thrown at sleeping windowsills under jewellery-eyed skies. Long live the lunatic marzipan moon, the morning severed with half-sleep's languid shadow. Bask in the happy, bee-deep voices that sting. Long live the primrose way to the eternal bonfire. You stopped to cry forever on the cold, hard shoulder of the kitchen floor. The brooding darkness like a drunken mind. Yet here you are, in your purple, your fresh cloud, your special dancing hat. Viva Le Evenings with wine and wise people. The diamond on vinyl, crackling. Let's gather round and warm ourselves on our stories.
Well, that's great to have that. I'm feeling really lucky because now I'm actually going to get to bring on to the show two of my most favourite artists of all time. Competing up there with Picasso, Degas and Jackson Pollock, I'm proud to be able to present on the Hidden Door live show two of our very own artists who've exhibited with Hidden Door in the past, Jill Boualaxai and Kristina Chan. Hi guys, how are you?
Hello.
Nice to see you here. Tell us a little bit about where you are. Where are you, Jill?
I am at home, not very far from where you are just now, in the Abbey Hill colonies.
That sounds good. And what about you, Kristina?
I'm a bit further south. I'm down here in London, at the bottom.
Okay, great. Well, Kristina, why don't we have a little bit of a look at some of your work and a little bit of background. You're from Vancouver. You studied in Paris, New York, and London before eventually coming to a proper city and becoming a resident of Leith. You got involved in Hidden Door and made these fantastic prints of the Leith Theatre. You've got a travel-based practice. I believe you make work based on travels to South Africa, Israel, and Australia. Can we see some recent work, maybe? And you can tell us a little bit about some of your recent work.
Yes, I've been working on a series based on a residency I spent in Australia at the end of last year, and it's been a nice chance to revisit a bit of my older kind of mediums and techniques, going back to sculpture, looking at photography, which is in part a bit of a practical decision because I don't have access to presses and printmaking facilities here at home. Yeah.
Okay, great. So the last time I saw you, or saw your work, it looked like printmaking was a really dominant part of your practice. Have you really enjoyed going into this kind of sculptural kind of work?
Oddly enough, I actually studied sculpture first and found my way to printmaking in a very roundabout fashion. So for me, it feels a bit nostalgic to go back to what I trained in originally. But it's been rather fun, and during the lockdown I've had to kind of adapt to everything and find ways to clean and colour the bronze using kind of household cleaners and probably things you shouldn't be using, but
needs must.
Lots of open windows.
And so you say these works were inspired by or were based on a trip to Australia, is that correct?
Yes, yeah. From October to December, I was invited to go to New South Wales and kind of look into a specific region that was known for two particular ghost towns and kind of document the stories and sensations of being there for the 2 months. And of course, while I was there was when the bushfires were happening. So just kind of incorporating like a history, but also a present experience of the time and seeing how that comes into kind of an art practice.
Okay, and the bushfires gave you some sort of particular inspiration for the work, yeah?
Definitely. Well, those sculptures you saw were seeds called Banksias, and they actually have evolved to open in the fires in order to survive. So I thought that was really, really fascinating.
Wow, so almost.
The second image is part of the photography during the research. It's very much in its early stages, and I think even my printmaking is very photographically based. So it always starts with a lot of editing, a lot of looking through, and that's kind of just the first stages of this project I've been working on throughout lockdown.
That's really fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think it would be quite a good idea to maybe have a little look at some of Jill's work. Some of you will recognise this from Hidden Door. Jill, you've had a very unorthodox route into the art world. You started out as an archaeologist, but in 2004 you had a road to Damascus moment, a big career change where you realised that the true road to prosperity was obviously through art, and you began painting. But again, through travel as well, your work changed. I'm going to quote you here. You say, working across mediums, contexts, and subject matter, that your work is rooted in the fundamentals of archaeological storytelling and the myths and actualities that pervade abandoned and derelict spaces, which I find remarkable. I've never known you to be interested in derelict spaces before, Jill. Can you tell us a little bit about these works? They look really magical. What kind of alchemy did you use to make them?
Okay, so there's two quite different images that I've sent you, and they're both Hidden Door pieces. The kind of green copper pieces that I think are on screen just now. They were made for the 2018 festival at Lee Theatre, and there are two pieces that I made based on old maps of the area and the docks. One of the maps was from like 1600s, and the other was from 1870. And I was working with the square format, referencing the Ordnance Survey, and I was working with a little bit like Kristina, unorthodox materials, like ammonia and vinegar, and actually brasso, and dipping various objects into different weaknesses in the solution and popping them onto the copper and leaving them overnight, and it was kind of printing the different objects onto it. So it was quite an interesting and fun way of working.
I really love that idea of an artist as an alchemist who, you're experimenting and you don't always know what the image is going to look like. Did you ever get that kind of feeling of kind of trepidation of not knowing whether it was going to work or not?
I think that in my work, I really like that kind of accidental process. I get a little bit frustrated. I feel I've got too much control over the medium. So I love printmaking for that reason. And I feel that with the copper, it was an extension of printmaking, in that I started to be able to figure out what colour things would be or what they might look like, but it was still that kind of accidental chance that came into it, and sometimes it was a bit like, oh no, I really like that bit that I've just kind of poured something over, but like accidental things happened, and it was quite exciting.
It's a really nice idea of a metaphor, that the things which you don't expect can still turn out to be really positive in this kind of time when a lot of challenges are being thrown at us and we don't quite know what's going to happen. So we look to artists to show us the way. Let's get Kristina back on screen. And unless you're back on screen already, because I can't see. So, Kristina, travel is very much a part of what you do. Has the coronavirus affected, your kind of ideas for your future as an artist? What you might do next?
It is about travel, but it's also about the stories of these places. I mean, it is strange to think that I can't. So much a part of it is like going to these really remote and kind of forgotten places. That what's really affected me during this lockdown is thinking about how isolation can mean two very different things. And when I'm in these places, I'm alone, but it's such a comforting aloneness. And here it's so different. So I do imagine that's going to find its way kind of into the next, aspects of even the Australian piece. The comparison is just quite uncanny.
Mm. And you've exhibited a lot internationally as well. You're very good at getting your work all the way across the world. Do you have any destinations in mind that once things open up a little bit, you'll be able to get your work to?
Well, oddly enough, there are some whispers here about shows starting up in the summer. So part of that is I've worked on this collaborative piece with another photographer, Itamar Fried, and it's been traveling kind of before the lockdown. It was in Israel in October and through the New Year in Edinburgh, and it was meant to go down to London as part of the Beers Summer Marathon. And so we're hoping that's actually going to go through. But it's been really quite interesting trying to navigate how to get all these pieces that have been locked behind not only doors, but like shipping embargoes and warehouses and quarantine laws. So that's been quite interesting.
Oh, that's an understatement. Jill, what about you? How do you think your life has been kind of changed by this pandemic? How's your life as an artist been changed?
Well, for me, I'm actually allowed back to my studio now from this week, but I have been locked out of the studio for about, I'd say, 6 or 7 weeks. So I had a project that I was developing inspired by Italo Calvino's Invisible Cities on the city of Armilla, the city of pipes. And I had put in a proposal, and it hadn't necessarily been accepted yet, but I decided to make it anyway. And it was going to involve using porcelain to slip cast. So I actually got over my fear and been to the sculpture workshop and got a little bit more comfortable going there. And I was quite excited about developing this work. But then everything shut down. So I haven't really been able to develop that. But I guess I've had to find other ways of working from home.
So have you managed to be productive?
Yeah, so I when I was told I couldn't go into my studio, I sneakily went in there undercover and got loads of materials. Shouldn't probably say that online. And then I've been doing loads of drawing, and I've kind of just been drawing my house and also the play park in the local park where I take the dog. I started doing some drawings of that, and it's actually become quite an interesting motif. I've done about 20 or 30 drawings of this play park. Wow. And I think I'd like to do some paintings of that, because it's quite eerie that there's like kids play park just empty, and so it's like an abandoned play park. Nice. But I think for me, I used to draw a lot, and the more that my work's moved towards sculpture and installation, I've kind of fallen out of the habit of drawing every day, just the drawing. And so during lockdown, I've been kind of getting back into that, and I filled 2 sketchbooks full of drawings and sketches. So
that's really great. So Kristina, do you have any sort of tips for us, or any kind of ideas about how to kind of be productive, or how to even just survive kind of through any of this time?
It's a tall order, David. Yeah, I think it's really tricky to manage to stay kind of motivated. But I mean, as much as this daunting time is kind of sitting here and we don't know exactly when it's going to end, I do think if you can just use it to kind of try everything you've been meaning to get to, or like indulge every kind of experiment, now's the time. You can research, you can, just look around, walk, have a think, and I don't think we should shy away from that, because once it stops, we may not get it back.
Absolutely. Interesting. And Jill, what about you? What are you most looking forward to once it all finishes?
Well, I'm looking forward to kind of getting back into my studio and kind of getting on with some new big paintings, and I'm really looking forward to going back to the pub. I really miss the Safari Lounge, so
cannot wait for the Safari Lounge to open. Yeah. I'll see you there. Kristina and Jill, it's really, really lovely to speak to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and just sharing a little bit of your experience over the last few weeks with us. It makes a huge difference just to hear what you're kind of going through. So, guys, what I want to do now is I want to bring Mount Doubt back to play another tune. Mount Doubt, welcome back. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the next song?
Yeah, the next one I'm going to play is the second single that we brought out this year. It came out about 2 or 3 weeks ago, so it was a lockdown release. It's called Caravans on a Hill, and it's genuinely just about driving around the East Duke of Fife, thinking that I didn't want to be there.
That's where I'm from, so I can relate to that.
There you go.
Okay, go for it.
Thank you.
Up past caravans on a hill, where the siesta and the thrill, and we waver with the sea. All the while I wonder, is it just you, and is it just me? Sail on this caravan. There's no land until Scandinavia. We are Diluvian, elusive like affiliates, and we're fled between boulders to the edge of reverence, and the headlines start to fall. Now I'm buried in a loam. The headlines start to call. They call out to me. I'm in the glow. And it's not that you've gone without thought. In fact, the exact opposite. You're stratified in me, and my limbs shake when you step on the screen. And the headlights start to fall. I'm buried in the low. The headlights start to call. They call out to me. I'm in the glow. And I'm only here, right beside you, and I used to be so good, and now I'm so scared of it. I'm only here, right beside you, and I used to be so good. And the headlines start to fall. Now I'm buried in the low. The headlines start to call. They call out to me. I'm in the glow.
Thank you so much, Mount Doubt. That's really fantastic. Just to keep the music vibes going, I want to bring back the one and only Tupper Werewolf. So, Mr. Werewolf, we enjoyed one of your tracks earlier. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you go about making music? How do you start?
Sure. It's usually a pretty impulsive process. Yeah, I kind of take a lot of inspiration from cheap keyboards that try to make, well, sort of acoustic organic sounds really, really badly. I quite like the charm of that. And I quite like, well, layering various percussive drum tracks on top of each other, get a sort of samba band or sort of multi-drummer kind of feel about the music. So kind of, well, throw the kitchen sink at it basically, and then try and strip things back when necessary.
Do you ever actually literally do that? Like, do you go find yourself in the kitchen, like with the cutlery, kind of hitting stuff, and then thinking, "Oh, that sounds great!" Like picking a knife off the side and like recording it.
I've been known to do such things. Yeah, I would admit. Yeah.
Do you feel like, is this a sort of inspiring kind of time for you, or do you kind of feel a bit kind of melted by it? How does it work out for you?
Peaks and troughs, probably. So I guess like the first few weeks of the lockdown, I kind of stuck my head into music. I spent a couple of weeks kind of on a remix that I was making for the wonderful Mitchell Museum. So that was a lovely sort of distraction and lovely project to kind of get experimenting on. It's not really something I've done terribly much of before, so it was good to kind of learn from that, I suppose. Yeah,
it was a fantastic remix. I loved it when I heard it. Obviously, you're based in Glasgow, and Glasgow's famous for its music scene. Do you think it's ever going to recover from this?
God, I hope so. Yeah, it'll be pretty dull if it doesn't. But I mean, it's just amazing. I was thinking about it earlier, just the amount of people that this must affect. I mean, like musicians like myself, tours, shows, festivals, all cancelled left, right, and centre. But you've got rehearsal spaces, sound engineers, bookers, promoters. Like, there's a whole industry that is reliant on live music, and kind of hope that, well, at least some of it, if not all of it, survives, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think that during this time, a lot of us have been discovering a lot of new music, and hopefully people are going to be discovering your music and loving it too. Shall we listen to some tunes? I think you're going to play us out with a couple of tracks. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're about to play?
Yeah, first tune is called Piano Hammer. I guess, as I was saying earlier, a musically fairly random, impulsive bit of material, and well, there's a sort of lyrical sort of section in the middle that I kind of wrote when, well, it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, late 2019, but here we are, and I guess the message was trying to look at, well, half the world is on fire, and well, politically things are in a bit of a trough at the minute. But well, what we need to sort this out. We need to get out of here. People need to change things. So that's kind of the story behind it. But here we go, I suppose.
Great. Okay. Well, listen. Just before you start, I just want to thank my guests again tonight. So thank you, Mount Doubt, Iona Lee, and Kristina Chan, and Jill Boualaxai. Thank you so much for coming on the programme. And of course, I really want to thank you, our audience. Thanks for turning up tonight and giving us a shot. It's our first show, so we're really keen to kind of try and build on this and keep them coming week after week. Also, really like to thank the Backroom team. The Hidden Door team is just an amazing bunch of people to work with, so inspiring, always so positive. In particular, I'd like to thank Basilis, Johnny and Adam, Maria, for lots of input and advice on this show. And in particular, I would like to thank our unflappable project manager and floor manager, Kostas the Greek. So thank you guys for making this show happen. I'll hand it over to Tupper Werewolf. Take it away.
around me. Don't listen to the internet. We may or may not be evaporated in an instant, but why fixate on that? Yeah, there's much to lose and there's much to see, but there's also much to learn and much to do. And well, we are here.
Cheers. Yep. Here comes the second tune. Just let me retune my computer. Guitarists have got a really good excuse for this kind of break, but no. Here we go. This next tune's called Allsorts. This tune and the previous one are on my new EP called Flavour Country. It's on Spotify, it's on Bandcamp. Feel free to check it out, that'd be wonderful. Also, if anyone on the south side of Glasgow wants some hot sauce, come and see me. I was giving away some hot sauce with the album at gigs. Obviously, if there's no gigs anymore, I'm left with gallons and gallons of hot sauce. So come and check it out. Good to understand how love works. We'll work it out together. Over a few drinks. Or maybe in the basement of Nice and Sleazy's. Maybe we'll go a drive to the beach. Or take the boat to Arran tomorrow. But for now we're dancing. And I couldn't be happier. I've no idea what song they're playing. But it feels important. 'Cause we're here. And we're dancing. Through this self-inflicted haze, I'm certain that this is love in one of its forms.
And maybe we'll grow old together. We'll find out another time. And not tonight. As we stand here, half soaked in sweat and other people's lager. And I think to myself, this is love in one of its forms. This is love in one of its forms.
Good night. Cheers.